Hello, everyone, and welcome. Our beautiful panel is here, the beautiful Earth Angels, Debbie Westcott, Ashley Curti, and Cheryl Harris. And we are so excited to share with you this topic. So say hello, everyone.
Hey.
Awesome. So our topic today is called agency and ownership of your power. Guys, this is one of the most important fundamental topics, and as one unit and one heart, we feel strongly about sharing this with you. So I hope that you listen all the way through and go ahead and share this with your friends, and through this work that we do, we can heal the world and bring more peace to everybody's hearts. So guys, let's just help people understand, if they don't already, know what the word agency is, because sometimes it's just a random word that we throw out and people need a little bit of an explanation. So what is agency?
For me, I think power to choose. That's what I feel like it is literally your power to choose, to create, to live, honestly.
Yeah. So your own power. So that's my definition, the power to make choices and to create. Power of choice and creation. Yep. Yeah. So there's two parts of it. Yeah. Yep. Anyone else?
I was just going to say, I think we have a couple different opportunities in our power of choice. And when you asked that question, I immediately thought of Viktor Frankl, and his concept of between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space is our opportunity to choose. So we have two opportunities to choose, and that's proactively, an idea, something that we do proactively by choice without an outside stimulus, and then an opportunity to respond wisely with our agency when we take, that space between the stimulus and the response, when we take the opportunity in that moment or seconds or however long you choose to make it be, that is where our power lies.
That's so good, because if people believe that I don't have a choice, I have to this and I have to that, that's not true. Okay, guys, that's so not true, because even if it's like Debbie said, a millisecond between that stimulus, whatever it is, the trigger, okay, and the response, we have power. So when people say, I have PTSD or whatever, and here's all these triggers, and then here's my response, the truth is you have power in between, even if it's a millisecond, to make choices of being proactive or passive. You can be acting or being acted upon. So there's your choice. As if you can just adopt that for a minute and just go with this with us, you'll see that you can have more power. Okay. When people have this victim mentality, it doesn't do them any good. Okay. So just choose that victor mentality for a minute, and you'll see where we're going with this. Do you have anything to say there?
I was just going to say, I think one of the most brilliant parts of that concept that Viktor Frankl presented was that space in between, it doesn't have to be milliseconds. Like, I can just hit pause, and be like, hold on, I need a little bit of time to think about this. And whether it's 5 minutes or 24 hours, that feels powerful to me, that I get to choose how much time I take to respond, appropriately, wisely, whatever, after I've given it some consideration. So to me, that feels really powerful. I think I used to believe you have to respond right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to me, that tells me that I'm not listening to solve something or listening to find a solution. I'm listening to defend if I'm immediate response, more like a reaction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful. Exactly. So that's a beautiful truth, you guys. So before we go into how we own our power, which is that power to choose the agency, we're our agents. Let's just delve into power a little bit, okay? Because it needs to be clarified. So sometimes I've met women who don't like that word power. You know, I had some people say, okay, can you say this? I am powerful, I am whatever, and they didn't like it. And what I discovered is these women need to be unempowered to have attention, right? To have love. And like, if we have power, then you're power hungry. Isn't that bad? Right? So, let's clarify what power is. Okay. What do you guys want to say anything, add anything to that?
I feel like that I didn't realize. I felt like for a large part of my life that I had no voice and that I was powerless in my life, that like things just happened to me. Like I just happened to be born to these parents because whatever, I just happened to like get into this car accident, or I just happened to whatever. But really, it's because I didn't see my power as a creator. And when I say my power as a creator, as in where am I putting the energy of my spirit in my life? Like how am I directing my life? Like if you were a boat, like how are you turning your sails? You know what I mean? Like to me, I didn't realize that I was, and I might say like when Debbie was talking about like, being forced or something like that, I would have said like, oh, well, even my kids will say this, like I'll say to my son, like, okay, these are the rules of my house. And he'll be like, okay, well, are you saying, so then you're going to kick me out? And I'm like, absolutely not. I would never kick you out, but these are the rules of my house. And if you choose to live here, then you choose these rules. And if you choose not, then that's fine. You are always welcome to be here. I love you. I want you here, but this is the rule of this home. And so whenever we choose something, sometimes we choose the rules of that thing. Like if you choose to get a dog, you choose to feed it or it will die. You know what I mean? And so like, that's still power to choose, and you choose your life. And so you choose your, the things that happen along with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what we need to clarify when we talk about power is, who are you really? Right? You are a divine being. You are a child of God. So when you remember who you are, you know that there is some intelligence and power within, okay, or consciousness, if you wanted to put it that way. But we have power, okay? And, we, like Ashley said, we don't have to choose to be the damsel. We can choose to see things the way we want to see it, and not things happen to me, things happen for me. We have the power to master elements and command elements within us and outside of us, right, to, create our reality. So, knowing who we are in relation to God, right, we can see that, we have this great potential, and that is the power within us, okay? Anyone want to add more to that? Yeah. Debbie?
Yeah, I was just thinking, it reminded me of a scripture that talks about like being anxiously engaged in a good cause and do many good things of their own free will. Mm-hmm. So it's a conscious choice. That's where the power is. Yeah. Is making a conscious choice to do something. When we're compelled, it's almost like we feel either drawn or pushed to do something. And I think the free will, making a conscious choice to use our free will, feels very powerful.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. So I love that, consciously, intentionally making decisions. So, Debbie just had a class online about, declaring, and it's like making that choice and declaring, and it's a form of commitment to yourself, right? That this is what I want to create. I declare this out into the universe. You know, we have energy field, right? We're not just this thing contained in this body. Our energy, it can like be outside of us, very big energy, and we can extend that power out to cover the earth as well if we want to, right? So we do have that power to kind of like reach out. But first of all, you just kind of have to choose to do that, right? And that's why I feel like, you know, a lot of us, when we belong to a church, for example, we make something called covenants or promises, right? And that's a way for us to commit to what we want to be and what we want to become, and then just remain loyal to that. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, really helps us become empowered. So anyways, that's power, guys. So I hope that makes sense. Agency, you know, the power to choose and create, but then it's connected to power, because the power is because you're a divine being and you have power, right? It's not like, oh, she's lucky, she's great, I don't have any. No, everyone has power. So we just wanted to establish that first. All right. So what happens when people don't know that they have this power and then don't own their agency and just, you know, live passively? What happens? What does it look like, you guys?
To me, it looks like what I would call a whatevsies life. You know what I mean? Like you just kind of get whatevsies. Like, you know, like you get this car because it was convenient, and you married this guy because he asked, and you didn't decide ahead of time what you wanted, and then like you get this job just because they were hiring. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, well, as opposed to like, well, I want these characteristics in a spouse. I want to be married by this age, and I want this kind of life, and I want, you know what I mean? Just like you said with the energy field, like if you don't know what you want, then you'll get whatevsies. But if you do know what you want, then you know what you're looking for. Kind of like, so this is kind of a funny example, but like sometimes my daughter will be like, oh, can you help me find my earrings? And we'll be looking for her earrings, and I'll realize I don't even know what her earrings look like. You know what I mean? And but then like she'll be like, oh, well, they're, you know, like gold hearts or something. But so if you know that you're looking for gold hearts, you're going to find some gold hearts. But if you don't even know what you're looking for, then, you know what I mean? Like you're going to get a bunch of stuff you don't.
Yeah. And that whatevsies or default, it not usually good.
Yeah. It's whatevsies. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of low quality.
Default or quite a haphazard, right? Like
literally. Yeah.
Haphazardly create.
That's the word. That's the word, Deb.
Getting results. No, it's the same. I mean, it's a similar concept. It's like, we wonder why like funky, crazy stuff is happening around us,
right?
And drama. And it's because we haven't chosen to be the master of our ship, right? Like the master of our lives.
And choose to
Stephen Covey talked about that, right? Being the master in our lives, and making choices to direct it. And it doesn't mean everything is going to work out absolutely perfectly. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have detours and lessons and, you know, wrong turns along the way, but it feels more powerful when we are intentionally making choices about who we want to be, you know, what kind of work we want to do, and just all of those things feel really, you know, it's like a kid when the idea is the kid's idea, they're more invested in it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's true for any human being, but when we let the idea be, you know, be the kid's idea, like they made the choice, they're just so much more invested in it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Cheryl?
I was just sitting here thinking about another kind of aspect to what happens when we don't own our power, and that's we miss out. on so much.
Oh, yeah.
We miss out on our privileges in life. And there's actually a story that just it keeps coming to my mind by Dieter F. Uchtdorf. I mean, it's a fictional story, but it just, for me, it really kind of resonated with me on how I can be, have ownership in my life and be able to enjoy the abundance of life. And so it's about this man who he saves up all his life for to go on this cruise, and he's just so excited to be able to, go and explore these exotic places and enjoy, this cruise. And so he gets on the cruise ship and he's so worried about money that he actually packs spending money. So he packs up, cans of beans and crackers and like powdered lemonade and stuff. And he basically sits in his cabin and, he's so worried about spending money that he doesn't go and do these land excursions, and he doesn't go and eat at these amazing buffets or enjoy the entertainment that's on the ship. And he actually is jealous or envious of all these people that are doing these things. And it isn't until the end of his cruise that he's asked by one of the crew workers, well, which one of the farewell, parties you're going to go to. And he's like, it was at that point he realized that everything on the cruise ship was free to him, but because he limited himself, he limited his, whatever, he wasn't able to enjoy those things. And I feel like that we do that in life too, when we don't take the opportunities to learn about what our privileges are in life and, what the potential is. And so that kind of limits our power, because, we're not owning, going out there and seeking what it is that we can be blessed with in abundance, So I think about that story often when I'm thinking, okay, what am I missing out on? I just,
No, for sure. That's so good. I love that story. I'm so glad that you mentioned that. My parents, they lived in like in hopes and limitations, a little bit of hope, but then mostly limitations. And, the last few years, since I learned all these things and since they, were able to adopt more, meditation and all of the lifestyle that we should. Anyways, they live in a higher vibration now. My mom healed herself of cancer because she's like living in a higher vibration. So they've gone to several cruises, and they're going to one again this year with the rest of the family. And my dad was teasing my mom, and he's like, "Don't just eat beans," I showed them that video, and I'm like he was referencing that, and my mom was like, "Yeah, of course, I'm gonna buffet again," and I'm like,
pina coladas. Yeah.
But it's like it's huge change for people who felt like they were stuck in limitation, and now they release themselves, and it was just a choice, an intentional choice. It wasn't like huge effort. It was an intentional choice, and then things fall into place and you attract it. And I think that's the message that we want to share with you guys today, that it's not this huge big effort and it's just struggle to be there, to own your agency and have your power. It's actually a lot simpler than you realize. So no more haphazardly creating, because we're creators anyways, right? So go ahead.
Can I share one more thing about not choosing your power? Is we end up blaming.
Yep.
We blame people because we think stuff is happening to us instead of for us. And, we make people, if they're the hero in our life, they can also become the villain. Yeah. And so we need to be really careful of that, of recognizing who we're blaming. And it can even go so far as to blame God. And, he is a loving, wise, intelligent God, but he has created this power of agency. And isn't that what, like, all of us just really in our core, we just want freedom, right? Like, we want to be free to choose. We want to have ownership of the things that we're doing. And it's when we don't feel that we feel powerless.
Mm-hmm.
And then we feel like it's other people's fault that things are happening.
Yeah.
And when it's other people's fault, it is very difficult to find peace, joy, happiness, or solutions. So
Mm-hmm. Very
Yeah.
good.
That blame, that does actually render you powerless, because then you need somebody. If you blame them, then you actually give them your power.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so,
like you're in charge. Like, I'm going to
yes.
make you in charge of my happiness. And
Yeah,
like,
I need
how's
your
that working
permission.
out for you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's because it's like, then you need permission as opposed to just being
Right.
free, which you already are. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So clues, I'm glad Debbie mentioned that, because the clues that you are not empowered, because sometimes people, they, I guess convince themselves that they're powerful when they're not. And that's really hard when you can't see it. Okay, when you can't see yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So here are the clues to help us self-reflect. So if you're blaming or complaining, okay, and you say, I can't a lot. So the first response to anything is, I can't because, and then your subconscious finds reasons, excuses. And then the waiting for when. It's like, well, when this happens and then I can, right? That's another sign. Or feeling hurt and offended. Well, so-and-so hurt me, and so-and-so offended me, right? That's very, very common, okay? All of us have gone through that. It's like, we're not perfect here, but we recognize that, and then we've decided and made a conscious choice not to do that again, because that's like a sign that we're holding other people responsible for our happiness, or responsible for loving us, because we haven't loved ourselves, we haven't chosen. And so when they, when we pull from them, it's never going to be enough. So that's some clues there for you guys. If you just feel stuck, you can't breathe, or you have health problems just over and over again, your body, your physical body will give you clues where you are limiting yourself. Okay, like in the lungs, for example, we have asthma and stuff, or allergies. Your body's saying, hey, I'm not letting myself breathe in life deeply and fully, right? And if we have relationship problems, that should be a clue. That should be a clue. I was talking to Debbie a few days ago, and I was like, Debbie, we've been friends for over a decade, 12 years, and we've never fought, and we don't have to fight, right? And so it's not a thing that you expect from a relationship, right? It's just, we choose to own our power. So there's never going to be this fight that we'll ever have. If we need to clarify some things, we will, because we both own our agency, right? So guys, good signs, good clues for people. Any other things that I've missed? Relationship problems. Oh, money problems. Blaming, complaining, can'ts. Okay, and not finding solutions.
So something I tell some of my family members is, whenever they complain, I'm like, if you complain, that's a choice to be unhappy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you don't realize it, but it's a choice. Whenever you're complaining about anything, it's a choice to be unhappy.
Yeah.
And that's like we talk about being creators. So you're choosing to be unhappy. And so it's just different stuff that
maybe we should clarify, like there's venting and complaining. Sometimes we just have stuff in us that we need to get out.
Yeah.
The important thing, I think, is to go to someone who is spiritually, emotionally mature enough to like hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And
not
be offended by it. Just don't add to the fire. Just be like, I need to vent. I need to get this out, out of me. And at the end, your intention is to resolve, right? Your intention is to resolve it. But sometimes that energy just needs to go somewhere, like, because we're human, we get frustrated sometimes, right?
We don't know what our feelings are.
Yeah, feeling your feelings. That's what to me is like you feel your feelings, you do it right out loud, and you feel it all of the way. And if you need to do it loudly, that's okay too. But you know what I mean? But like once it's out, where do we go from there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like that's because that's part of progression.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas complaining is stagnant in negativity.
Yeah. Oh, that's
as opposed to like like getting it all out, feeling your feelings, like doing it how you do it, that is progressing forward.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, here I am sitting in poo. Sorry. I don't know.
Now I tell you, but it's warm and you're familiar with it, even though
there it is. And you're comfortable in your diaper, and that's just how it is. Yeah.
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 So I'm so glad that you clarified the complaining and then venting with our intention to release and to move forward, feel your feels. So, you know, the if you feel offended or hurt or hatred, you just have to go, I feel this, and you acknowledge it. And then you realize, hang on, if I'm feeling this, then I'm holding them responsible. I'm still holding on to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they say sorry, if they change their ways, then I will feel better. That's waiting for when, right? And
yeah.
Like, whoa. Okay, that's not their responsibility for my happiness. So I'm responsible to love me and responsible for receiving love from the divine. And so, you know, we just set people free, right? And we recognize some of that is all fear and not love. And we know that here's the solution. So having said that, let's move on to, you know, giving you solutions of what we have discovered, how we can own our agency better. Okay. So guys, we're talking to the spiritually mature women here, people that want to love God, want to have faith. Okay. You've got kids, perhaps you're a sister, you're a wife, you're a daughter, you know, and you want your relationships in your life to be better. You have influence over these people. And this is why we want to make these podcasts and videos, because we really want, you know, this message to be carried forward. Okay. So Ashley, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm actually speaking to husbands and sons too, because honestly, like I have so many friends that they're like, I'm sending this to my husband. And actually I send them to my husband too. So I'm speaking to husbands and sons also, because we all have feelings that need to be felt and things that need to be said. And I feel like that it is beautiful and powerful, like whenever we realize that there is this beautiful partnership, you know, between both. I
agree. It's relevant for everyone. But I think, you know, some of the examples that we share, it probably relates to the women. But guys,
you're correct.
Tweak it so that it kind of fits your needs too. Okay. All right. So the question is, how do we own our agency and how do we become more powerful? I know it's like a, you know, broad question, and, you know, whatever you feel inspired to share, go ahead and share it. Maybe share from your experience.
I would say remember who you are, which we already touched that. But, honestly, because I used to live a very victim mentality, powerless, like no voice kind of life. And I feel like that once to me, it's a remembering who I am. And then also trusting that and the confidence in it, and really reconnecting with God, because I could tell you who I was and I knew all the correct answers, but it wasn't deep into my heart. And the things that made it deep into my heart was creating space and time to have that time with God. And like Debbie was saying with like kind of in her call the other day, like spending time with yourself, spending time with God. For me, in my journal, just writing, like, what is it? What do I even like? Who am I? Like, why would I even be able to be this powerful, divine child of God? Like, remembering who you are. Like, what is the quote? The like meeting yourself and doing it on purpose. You know what I mean? That thing, because to me, that is how I have stepped into myself as a daughter of God.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. It's perfect. Yep. Remembering who you are. That's how we start. Yep. And writing your journal, talking to yourself, reconnecting to God, reconnecting to yourself again. Anything else, ladies?
For me, it's just getting to know myself, you know, that all is kind of what Ashley was kind of getting at, I think, a little bit is, when we kind of come to ourselves, we're getting to know ourselves and what it is that we truly desire. I think there's power in knowing what you want in life, what you expect from others, reasonably, and, not being so consumed or concerned with what's going on in other people's world and how, the comparison thing has to go. I think, I don't know, that's something that I've struggled with is, watching other people and kind of like the man on the boat, the cruise ship, who was envious of all these other people and, what they were getting to experience and on their adventure. And just, just owning that I have the power to create my own life and create my own adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And the relationships that are in my adventure. And one of my declarations is to be able to weed through my relationships and find out which ones allow me to be authentically me.
Mm-hmm.
And, that gives me that support I need to rise to my potential. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's empowering to me. And that's really helped me with this group, being able to see myself for who I really am, and of course, it's my Savior, Jesus Christ, that really has opened up the windows to me to see what I can become and to free myself of all the baggage and, the choices that I've made in my life or the things that have happened to me in my life and be able to set that free and free my soul. So that freeing my soul is very empowering. And that's something I have to work on every single day.
Mm-hmm. So good.
I love that. Yeah, there was something that a couple things that you said, Cheryl, that really sparked with me. I don't know, it's not so much an expectation. I think it's an anticipation, right? An anticipation that people are going to show up the way that we hope that they will. So we let go of an expectation and we anticipate that the things that we desire are coming to us because the universe is rigged in our favor. And then we allow people just to be who they are, right? And love them anyway, because we're all really on a similar journey, just at different levels and different hills and valleys and stuff. The other thing is I was thinking about the man on the boat, the man on the cruise ship. And I was thinking, what would it have taken for him to know all the possibilities that were available to him? All it would have took was a question, like stepping out of his room and saying, hey, how are those people? How much does that cost? You know what I mean? Or like, how can I do that? All it would have took was a question. And like a whole massive world of opportunities would have opened up to him. You know what I mean? So brilliant. And then another thought I had was the other day I was working with a friend, and one thing that was really important for her is we had to clarify the voices that she was listening to and understand this energy of pull and push and the source, because we have dark and light in our lives. And if we can understand the voice of darkness is always trying to limit you and push you down and make you feel small, then we can clarify that the light voice or energy is drawing you to become more, to rise up, to not to compare with anyone else, but like just be more of yourself, to experience more, to grow more, to learn more, just that your capacity of love is increased. So if we can really clarify those voices in our lives, I think that helps us also see the power that really is available to us.
Mm-hmm. So beautiful. everything that we've said so far, I think it's all of us are in, agreement with that. And I had all that down too, and it's just perfect because I had these points, and then I'm like, oh, she said that, yay, she said that, and I was just, this is one mind, one heart, you guys. I don't know if you can feel it when you're watching this video, but this is our community, and we invite you to participate in it just as much as we are here. But yeah, I love what Debbie said, and kind of like Cheryl, allow yourself to desire, So it's like, what do you desire? Like, that's a question. And sometimes you haven't allowed yourself to desire. And so when you don't desire, you don't have a question. You're not curious about what does that cost over there, right? How am I going to be able to do that? So I think that's part of it as well, to, own your agency. Remember that you're a powerful divine being, child of God that's beloved, and that you can raise the bar and have a greater degree of joy in this life, and you can be able to create. So I think that's a start of how we can own our agency, right? Choosing is great. We know what we can do, but we want to show you how to do it as well. Okay, so we're going to give you examples of us choosing, and just our own experience, but you can take this and run with it. So I was talking to a lady, she's like, I know I had these parents that weren't ideal, so I know what not to do, but I struggled all my life to know what to do, right? And so I feel like that's where we're going to go next, to tell you what it looks like, give you examples. Okay, so I'll start off first with a few things, and then you guys can take your turn. So first of all, let's choose to be decisive. Okay, so, we label ourselves as, I'm not sure, I don't make a good decision. I don't. Just choose right now to be decisive and be your own authority. You do not need permission by anybody, And so, when people are indecisive, it's because you're afraid to make mistakes, right? And so just pretend you made a mistake. It's going to be fine. You can resolve it. Choose to believe that you can resolve any of the problems that come your way, right? That you will find solutions, that you will connect with God, and you'll be able to, create with God. Okay, mm-hmm. So that's a good start. Of course, make peace with your humanity, because you're going to mess up, and it's okay. But just be decisive, be your own authority. And that's a great place to start, as we, show you some examples of how we've chosen. So one more thing here, and I'll let you guys share your ideas too, is envision how life can be. Envision a greater degree of joy. What does that look like? What does it feel like? What are your daily activities that reflect a greater degree of joy? Envision you saying no, and then anticipating people understanding you and not just being mad at you. Envision peace. Envision your children. Envision your husband. Envision your friends. Envision a community where everybody is one mind, one heart. So we get to choose what we envision. Okay, guys, go ahead.
So you guys talked about cost, and there is a cost, and the cost is effort, and effort sometimes. So effort looks like focus for me, mm-hmm. and minimizing distraction, because like either Debbie or Cheryl was saying, is you will hear these voices, and it's not like, like some crazy thing or whatever. It's just like the voices that say, oh, you're not smart, you're going to fail, you're dumb, what were you even thinking? Everybody hates you. You're going to hear that voice. And so it's important that you decide ahead of time, like Jade was saying, be decisive who you are. Like, I am successful. People love me because I love me, because because knowing you are, I am a precious child of God. And it's important to feel it like on all of as many senses as possible. You know what I mean? Like, feel it, like close your eyes and visualize it. And then feel it like in your heart, like how happy you'll be as you receive whatever it is, like acceptance or love or an accomplishment, if you're like achieving something, you feel it, and how you like feel it all the way to your heart, um and then like expect it. But the other word for expect is be faithful in that thing. You know what I mean? Be faithful. Like, I believe it's going to happen because I believe in me, because I know that God did not create me to fail. You know what I mean? That's why we have a savior, and the atonement is because we have all these like infinite do-overs, because our Father wants us to be successful, because he is successful and he believes in us and we're his children. And for me, that has been really powerful. And also, like you were saying about expectation, sometimes we will shuffle through friends a little bit, because you'll have those friends that are like, round of applause, good job, and then you'll have those friends that are like, must be nice, or like waiting for you to screw up. And then you realize that those people actually aren't your friends, because the people that lift you up, those are your friends. And it's okay to shuffle through them, in the sense that let some go, because if you release something, then you make space for something new and better. And so, and part of that is trusting in the Lord. And I feel like with that is that faith, that trust, that focus is where you become this new creature in Christ. And it's really transformative. And like myself and all of my beautiful sisters here and everywhere else, like, they will all tell you how transformative it is.
So good. Anyone else?
I'm just trying to figure out how to say what I'm going to say, but Ashley made me think about sometimes it's not just friendships that we have to kind of manage in a new way. Let me say, the negativity can be in our families, which is even a harder thing to deal with. But we can set those boundaries of what we will allow in our lives and what we won't. And it can be painful, but as was said earlier on, we need to be able to vent those frustrations as well, but be able to see what it is within ourselves that we can do to continue to empower our lives, to be protected from negativity from people that we love, and be able to continue to rise to our potential and privileges, because I feel like Satan will use those closest to us to try and make us feel powerless, and to take that and destroy all that he can. And I'm learning better how to be solid, because now I have a declaration of who I am and what I want in life. And I, just because of the drama that might be happening within, my sphere of influence or whatever, I still don't want to miss out on all of the beautiful things of this world. And that's what these kind of things do to us, is they make us feel like we have this grand excuse to shut down and to be acted upon, instead of being able to rise up above it and say, I'm powerful, I can do this, and I'm going to have that joy. I'm going to experience all the good things. And in that process, we learn that we are powerful, and that with God, he can strengthen us, and he's our companion. I know there's a better word, but he's a companion through this, and we will get through it. And there's days when I'm thinking, like, okay, I've got to be intentional in the morning and wake up and say, okay, no matter what happens today, everything's going to be great. It's going to be a good day. And when I do that, when I remember to do that and make myself an authority over my life, it happens every time.
Mhm.
But when I just kind of like casually go through life and not be intentional, the drama happens. And so, at least it doesn't have to include me if I wake up and I say, God be with me, So anyway, that's my 2 cents there.
No, that's so powerful. I love it. And I love that word, God is your companion. I think that's a powerful, powerful image to have God next to you. And, like Cheryl said, you can declare all of these things. It's sort of like your skills and your tools that you pull out when Satan tries to do a number on you. You're like, no, I'm going to have a great day. And it's if you're familiar with affirmations, or it's kind of like that declaration, affirmation. It's just a statement of a decision that you make, because you have potential and you refuse to be distracted by some of these dramas that come your way. So, when you keep choosing progression over comfort like that, and faith over fear like that, you find that, hey, it's a lot easier than I expect. And even if you do baby steps, like every single day, you have to remind yourself that's baby step or whatever. It doesn't matter. You're moving ahead and you're owning your power a little bit more. I did a visual with the kids that I taught. I said, okay, here's a puzzle, right? And I just put the whole puzzle, all the pieces together, pieces piling on top of each other on the table. And I said, this is a complete puzzle. It's not put together yet, but it's a complete puzzle. Just know it. But you're trying to, in our life, we're trying to put ourselves together and design ourselves. Yeah. So that's our earthly experience here. But over the course of our life, sometimes we forget that we're doing this, we're creating this, and then we're like, throwing this piece away and throwing that piece away. And when you try to put yourself together, you're missing pieces, you're missing power. And so you need to kind of find it and put it back together and take it back. And it takes effort. And if you've given away a lot of your power and you've only got a few pieces of you left, right, it takes a little bit longer. And it's okay. Everyone's in a different journey, but we're all doing the same things. We're all trying to take back our power. So don't be hard on yourself when you feel like, it's like, where do I start? And, if you've had a lifetime of doing that, it's just going to take a little bit longer at times, and sometimes it's faster, but be patient with yourself. One of the things that is really powerful that, we've learned in our community is to be heart-led. Your heart will lead you to finding those pieces again. Yeah. So you're going to say, that feels yucky. And then it's bing, 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 clue that, hang on, that hurt, that pain, that whatever. That is telling me that there's a piece there that I gave away. Yeah. And I'm going to take that piece back. So I'm holding her responsible. I didn't hold this person responsible, but I'm holding this person responsible. My mother responsible for loving me and taking care of me. And now she couldn't and she didn't. And now I'm hurt. Well, no. I'm just going to liberate myself, liberate her. Okay. Let go of holding on to her. And then you found yourself again. You found your peace again. Okay. So, in our community, we teach people to be heart-led. We teach people to keep on muscle testing and finding where the original person, ancestry, have given away their piece of their puzzle as well. And so we find pieces for everyone else. And so everyone is just become whole again. And, that's the beauty of our work. So it's not just you. As you heal and own your power, your ancestors will heal and start owning their power as well. So it's pretty profound. Anything else you guys want to share there about what does it look like to own our power?
Okay, so something you said reminded me of, I think it was Marianne Williamson. I think it was her, or maybe it was Carol Tuttle. I don't know. But it was talking about how, so we will make mistakes. We just will. And so, but because we have a loving Father in heaven, it's kind of like like GPS. Like it's like, okay, well, you missed that turn, but here's the new direction. And it might take you a little bit longer to your destination, but you're still on your way to the destination. And so there's nothing too broke that can't be fixed. And sometimes I'll even say, well, Heavenly Father, I see that my child is like this because I did it. Mm-hmm. And can you just like cover her with so much grace? And he's always like, precious daughter, she was mine first. Of course, she's covered in grace. Mm-hmm. Of course she is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you can't break anything. To me, that's almost a little bit arrogant. Like you have power over somebody else, mm-hmm. and you just do not.
Yeah.
And so it's like, of course, this precious angel is covered in grace. Trust me with them to live their life. Trust me with them. I was confident enough with you to give you agency, just as I was my other children. Mm-hmm. And so trust me with them, please, because you'll be happier. And so, yeah.
Love it. So your heart will help you understand some of your health problems too. When you have the relationship problem, like Ashley said, with your children, when you have health problems, whatever it is, your heart will lead you to where you've given away your power and how you can get it back. So for example, if you feel like life is not fair, how come they got it? That guy who's like, I'm eating beans, but they're lucky they get to eat buffet. So you say, whoa, pause. My heart is saying it's not fair. I'm not equal. Well, guess what? It's very simple. Make a choice. I am equal. I choose to be equal to everyone else in the world. And, because of that, this is what I'm going to do to show me that I believe that I'm equal. Okay. And sometimes it's generational stuff, the patterns that hold us back and say, no, you're really not equal. We'll find that. We'll resolve that. And that's okay. But yeah, just remember, we can open our eyes and feel with our heart. And then be able to make intentional choices. So we make all our declarations. Yeah. And let's go to what Ashley was saying too. What if you did mess up? What if you've chosen wrong and it seemed like, you didn't teach your kids right? What then? What do we do about it?
To me, it's easier than you think. Because honestly, like I've been doing really walking back towards my Savior, like with a passion for the last 2 years and doing what we're doing. And I at one point was afraid, like, okay, well, am I going to leave these people behind? Am I going to separate myself from them? Is there going to be a division? And it kind of really brought to my eyes, like, why they act the way they do. And it's because I taught them that. I taught them with my limits and my fear that I used to have. And, but just like anything else, like I don't know if you're ever eating something delicious and then like a family member walks up and they're like, wow, that looks really good. And then they want their own spoon and then soon they've made their own plate. You know what I mean? It's like, as you change, they really just come along with you. You just really have to just trust that they're going to see the changes in you and they're going to want them and you won't help but be able to share. And then it's really just like faith. Just believe that they can change, just like you can believe that you can change, and encourage them as they encourage you, but be content on your path because that's what you have power over. And then they'll see that beautiful example. And so it's a lot of effort on your part for yourself, but almost effortless with them. Yes. Because they're on their own path to God with God.
That's so true. I love that. So guys, we're all examples of, mending the wrongs that we've done. Even in the past, if you look back and if you've done something that you feel like, I shouldn't have, now I know better. You didn't know better, right? And so you were this innocent child. So there's no point punishing yourself, criticizing yourself, and withholding love for yourself. Okay, so that's one of the rules that or the filters that I put upon myself to say, oh, no, we're not going to go there, Jay, because that's not helpful, right? So we're going to apply the atonement of Christ because it applies forward and backwards. So what that means is like what Ashley said, there's a lot of grace, right? I think, Cheryl, you said it too. There's so much grace in the power of the atonement. Do I truly believe that the atonement covers this, that it's going to be compensated, all my pains, all my losses, all the idiocies and just, problems? Can the atonement fix all of that. And if you trust the process, you will see that it does. God's got this. He's going to be there for my children. It's going to be, effortless, helping them. It's just effort on my part for me to own my power, right? So don't hurriedly rush into trying to fix people. I've had some moms like, I know what I need to do now, but I want to fix my kids too. It's like, no, just be patient, fix you first, right? And then your children will come along. Like, it's like they'll see this amazing feast that you're experiencing. You're happy, you're healthy, and they want to participate too. So just be the example, and that's the best gift you can give them, right? And then they will, follow suit. The trust in the process is for me, it's like this. It's like, no matter how I mess up, the Lord will somehow send people to have backups for backups for backups, right? So he's got me. So obviously, if he's got me, he's got everyone else. And he's got my children. I had to visualize in my mind how I could surrender my children to God and let him be in control so that I don't butt in and interfere with that natural process, right? And all I need to do is just be the example of how to hear God and how to be obedient to God. And how we do that is connect to him with love. Okay, the love is the connecting power. And so if we allow God to love us and allow our hearts to be filled, and then we can share that love for others, what we give to the world has substance. It has depth and it has meaning. And so every experience you've had on earth now has a meaning. And so your life, everything that you've experienced, was for a purpose, and that purpose is progression. And so you can truly feel at peace. So that's what we want to share with people. So guys, what are your experiences of hey, how do I fix this, the stuff that I've done wrong, my family, spouse, the past? Anyone?
Well, so even if I know that, so I believe, and I actually know, in heaven, just as Jesus Christ chose his path with Heavenly Father, we too chose the same path. And so sometimes, whereas I would have felt really guilty about, well, if I would have been better, then my children would have had a better life and all of that kind of thing. But in knowing that they chose exactly their paths, it means that they chose my mistakes also, and even chose me to make those mistakes so that they could have the pains, so they could have the other side, the happiness, so they could have the bitter and the sweet. Because that's me too. My parents did the best that they could, which, I'm grateful for. But where they failed, I say, okay, well, thank you for being with me in that experience, so that I could experience the other side. I could experience the bitter and the sweet. Mm-hmm. And so knowing that maybe it is your job right now to do that bitter, because they already chose that and we already chose that. So the bitter that you're providing, it doesn't feel good as you're doing that, and you feel sad and you feel all those things. But knowing that they already chose it, and so you can't mess them up. Mm-hmm. You just can't. You can't mess them up.
Yeah, it was part of the process for them to progress.
Yes.
Yeah. There's another gal podcast that I listened to, and she said something really profound that has stuck with me, is if it already happened, it was supposed to happen.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that, because it happened, we still continue in that path. When we, like you said, when we know better, I think it's Maya Angelou's, when we know better, we do better. But because it happened in the past, we can't go back and literally physically change what has happened, but we can grow from it and change, fail forward, change, moving forward. But Cheryl, everything that she said just resonates so tenderly with me. And I think what happens is we adopt this idea of being powerful beings, we're able to have this observer mentality, and we can see our family and the things that are happening around us, and instead of like being in the mess and so downtrodden and depressed and feeling responsible for all of it, we can actually feel love and compassion and more what I consider like a godly sorrow. You know what I mean? Like we can see the pain and the trouble that they're going through. And if we are truly in tune with God, we will know when to step in and when not to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is probably the biggest sign of progression for me is, am I hearing the voice of God and am I following it?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's a no, don't step in. And sometimes it's a yes, go be there, but be there in love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you guys, I've had people say, well, how come you guys hear God like so clearly like that? How do you know to be there and be there in love only? Right. We have tools, you guys. We have tools. So if you're watching this, we've got some juicy stuff that we want to share with you in our courses and stuff. And one of the things that we have is essential oils. We use essential oils a little bit different to a lot of people, because when we say, okay, I feel this inspiration, but then we can muscle test the right oils for us, and then it can give us a greater insight, and we can say, oh, this is saying this. So this is saying be objective, be a spectator, and got it. Okay, clues, matchy. Now I got the sermon, right? So we get to have these really profound experiences and lots of clarity because we have all of these tools and the skills to make it happen. Okay, so you guys, you're not going to miss out. We will teach you everything we know and embrace you. Right. It's like, how do I apply the atonement? We have skills to go back, and do regression work. How do I trust the process? Well, we'll show you how. There's skills and stuff that we can show you too. But one of the things that is powerful is just, can we let go of trying to choose too soon the label and a conclusion for the situation that we have? Okay, so what I'm saying is, when you're trying to do stuff and you're like, oh, it's not working, must be bad, and I'm bad, and everything's bad, right? So that's like premature labeling, right? And then so I failed. So like, hey, just step back, calm down. It's not what you see sometimes. So if we can just let God be the judge of it, let God tell you you're heading the right direction, great, because there's more light, and look at all the fruits, great. Or hey, you know what? Course correction now, but even if it's course correction, it's not like you're bad, it's bad, everything's failed, and then now everyone is horrible, right? And then we villainize and all that. So that's one of the things that kind of messes up when we choose too prematurely to label something because we're trying to understand it, right? But we label it negatively and villainize people, etc. All right. So when we feel that discomfort, we need more directives. Like I said earlier, we have oils. Okay, so we want to share with you 2 oils that you can start with if you have the doTERRA essential oils. We advocate for that brand. The first one is fennel oil. Okay, so it happens to be the free oil of the month. How perfect is that? Or in the US, like we've got this topic planned a couple of weeks ago, and then here it is, fennel, and I'm like, the universe heard us. Okay, so fennel is the oil of responsibility. It's you being responsible for your agency and power. Yeah. So
it's actually delicious too. Like you put that sucker on your tongue, turns out it's yummy. Yeah, so that's good too. Yeah. And it helps so much with digestion. But it's like somebody was asking me, like, what's the deal with the essential oils? And I said, honestly, you could do the training without the essential oils, but if you have to get to A to B, it's like walking, but whenever you have the oils, it's like getting in the car and driving there. Yeah. And so it just really just does speed the process. It really just does speed the process.
It's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, because like for me, like, because everything is energy, you know what I mean? Like You know what I mean? Like it helps to raise, and we talked about, you know, like a field of influence, that's just energy. And it really does helps to balance you out, and it doesn't solve your problem at all.
Yeah.
But it, like I said, it's like gas in the tank, if you will, to speed your journey.
Yeah.
And geranium, which I'm just going to move on to that one. I actually, the very first time Jade and I had a session, I smelled it and she's like, "Oh, what do you think?" And I was like, "Oh, it's so good." I did not. I lied. And it's okay. It smelled good a little bit. It smelled good a little bit, but I was like, "Oh, I like it so much." I did not. And because it would be like good at the beginning and then like ugh. And so that's a self-love one and self-trust one. And it's because I'd done so much self-betrayal, like lying about liking oil. Hello. And you know what I mean? And so like as soon as I was able to clear that out, I was like, huh, turns out geranium smells good. Same oil, same nose, but like different energy. You know what I mean? And so as you like clear the block, like she was saying, that's what we do. But you know, like as you clear that out, like, as you release that fear and all that negativity, it you literally change. You're different.
Mm-hmm. That's, yeah, perfect example there. You know, I actually mentioned fennel with the digestive system. So like, you know, the oils are like the gas in your car. You just get there faster. So, you know, owning your power, and then the digestive system. Well, how does that link? Well, that means like when stuff happens to you, you can quickly digest information and then filter out what you don't need and then keep what you do. And it's just kind of like help you do it faster. Right. So when life happens and you're like, yeah, got it. Oh, boundaries here, boundaries there. Oh, no, I'm going to take this one. And it's just really helps us along. Supportive scaffolding, crutches, if you will, as you rebuild your new self. So, you know, we have, did you know that fennel helps with blood clotting? You know, like as in like releasing, you know, cleansing out the blood so that there's less blood clotting. Right. So, you know, that's why it's great for nursing mothers. When you nurse, we want that flow, the milk flow.
Oh, that flow. Mm-hmm. Processing and flow.
Yeah, it's processing, it's flowing. So helping blood flow. And so, you know, the blocks that we have because we don't own our power, well, it clears those clots, you know, ding, and the blocks for the breastfeeding and the lactation, bing. So it's like power, flow, create. So guys, you will really appreciate fennel. We'll tell you how to use it, connect to our community. We'll talk all about it. But today, I think we just want to give you like some juicy information so you know that there's hope, there's stuff that you can do, okay? And geranium, how do you guys use it?
I actually use it a lot still. Because you had mentioned something about boundaries before. And I realized that I couldn't have boundaries if I didn't know who I was. It's kind of like, unless you know, like, how can you put a fence around, like, a fence around the thing that you don't even know is your space or who you are. And geranium with this, for me, is I didn't realize that I would self-sacrifice and I would hurt myself for others or sacrifice myself for others just because I didn't feel worthy of love. And so because of that, that was a pattern I had to stop and create boundaries. Like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And geranium was so powerful for me for that, because at first it even took me a really long time to muscle test because I didn't trust myself. And so as soon as I was able to like start remembering who I am, and learn to trust myself as a divine daughter of God, and stop hurting myself for others, this oil was so good for me for that.
I love that you talked about boundaries there. I mean, it's about, you know, the other oils about saying no, right, and setting up these walls. But, you know, with geranium, it's about saying yes to self. If you've spent a lifetime being a pleaser and conforming to what everyone else wants you to be, needs you to be, like a mama, like a martyr mama, right? Let go of you, sacrifice you. And then, you know, or just whatever it is that you've been trying to do and please make sure everyone's happy, husband's happy, kids are happy, mom's happy, dad's happy. You just really don't know who you are. So you've never said yes to yourself. Yeah. And like I had to kind of like explore, do I like this? And, feel my heart. Yeah, my heart says yes. Do I like that? I think I do. No, I don't. Actually, no, I don't. Right? Because now that I'm thinking about it and feeling it, I really don't. I said yes because so-and-so likes it. And it wasn't me. Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay to be me. That's the oil. It's okay to be me. Yeah. How have you guys used geranium?
Yeah, I think for me, it reminded me or helped me understand like it's okay for me to have challenges and experience heartaches and pains and things like that. And it helped me have more power because I could I could look back at those things and ask like, what was I supposed to learn from this? And how did it help me grow and look for the silver linings, and understand that my heart is strong enough to break and mend again.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that was a big thing. And I too did not like geranium at first. It made me want to throw up. But
did you say
now,
it?
Yeah, now I like it. And I combine it with citrus oils a lot. It's a floral, and I combine it with citrus a lot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
For me, I use it over my heart to remind me that that I'm enough. That I'm enough to love myself unconditionally.
Yeah.
I think that's foundational in being able to have personal power, is to love yourself and to recognize that you know enough, you're good enough. And sometimes I just Epsom salts and bathe in it, especially on the hard days. So this is when I still go in and out of liking and not liking. So some days I love it, some days not so much, but I know that that's where I need to kind of do some investigating to find out what it is that is blocking me from feeling that I'm enough.
Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that about essential oils. They give us clues, as to like what's happening with us. And I have heard that where some days one will smell really good and another day it won't. And it just shows like how we're energetic creatures and that we're dynamic creatures and that we have these amazing tools to kind of help show us and guide and direct us and uphold us and teach us as we're changing and growing. I just think it's so beautiful. It's like such a manifestation of God's love for us and his care for us that we have the essential oils that can kind of guide us and clue us in to what's going on.
So good. It's like tender mercies, like daily tender mercies. So good. And I'm so glad that Cheryl mentioned that. It's good some days, not good another day. So guys, just so you know that, it might not be you. It might be generational stuff that's coming to the surface. And it's time for you to kind of resolve stuff for them as well. So, that's fine. We don't need to beat ourselves up. We can say, okay, so what else did I do? What else should I do? And this is the beauty of our community and the skills that we have with the energy balancing with faith. I had a lady, she was telling me too, she's like, you know what? I am not afraid to face the world, face the future, because I have skills that I can use to overcome whatever comes my way. And that is exactly this. So like Cheryl says, well, today it doesn't taste good and smell good. Well, I'm going to, use my skills to figure out what it is, and yay, and I'm confident in that skill, the connection to God, and, some of these, just tips of how you can approach your health. So we will help you practice that as a community. We will help you practice this. So don't worry. I will help you discover who you are and be okay with who you are, and not more than okay, accept that you're good enough, and have a deeper love for yourself, and we'll just keep progressing, and we will be different next year. When you listen to our podcast next year, we will be even more different. But, you know, we're just on this journey together, and it's together. That's the key, you know, and it's strength. It's strength. You know, I used to believe, or suppress myself, because I love deep and meaningful conversations. I love being intense and passionate about stuff. And my husband used to tease me, and he's like, if you were a superhero, you'd be super passionate, kill people with your passion. And I'm like, oh, you know, so I'm like, I don't know, I should shut up now. But then, you know, and then I find my soul sisters that like, juicies, let's talk about juicy stuff, right? Yay, and intense, you know, and passion and deep and meaningful. And I'm like, yay. So I think it's when I discovered this is me and this is what I really like, and it's okay to be me, that I attract my friends and my community. So guys, if you're watching this and you want to talk deep and meaningful and feelings and healing, this is the community for you. You're welcome to join us. We have retreats, some fun retreats. Ashley's organizing a retreat in Costa Rica. We have retreats, you know, in other places too. Beautiful. Just contact us and find out the details. And we have the Energy Balancing with Faith course online. We have books as well. If you do the course, you know, the top first 10 people will get the books for free. Okay, and that's, you know, going to help you start this journey to building that inner strength, and you develop your power and recognize that you can own your agency more. And, you know, and the reason why we do that is, in the end, it brings us great joy. Okay, as we connect with one another, have great power, it creates this great joy, the higher level of joy. That's why we do what we do. Yeah.
And it's so fun. Like, it really is. Like, when we're all together, it's like we're crying, we're laughing and eating and playing. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah. Yeah, so you'll enjoy crying too. Don't worry.
It's like our favorite. It's like our favorite.
We're snotty and we're like,
I know. It's so. Yeah.
Right. And then we giggle at the end because we feel so much better.
And feel so good. Yeah.
But you know, I don't.
Spiritual cleanse.
Exactly. I love what Debbie said. We have this physical cleanse we do every quarter, but here's our spiritual cleanse. And when we get together, we embrace one another and really help each other through this spiritual cleanse. So good. And, you know, I don't know anything else that is, you know, helps us this powerfully and this deeply. We got the best gems. Don't you think?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes, Jade. We all have the best gems. Yes.
So good.
Precious gems. Yes.
That's it. So guys, this has been so great, and we can go on and on, but we really should end here. Anything else you want to say to the people watching and listening?
Do it. Yes, you can. Definitely.
Yeah. We love you. Tons of love here. Come be with us.
Awesome. So thank you so much, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and podcast, and connect with us on social. We try to be out there and doing as much as we can to support everybody. So thank you, and come again. So talk to you soon.
Yep.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.